So what's at risk? Everything's at risk. Except for programs that are provincially mandated, which means the province says, here's the money, you have to do this, and you don't get to cut it. And that tends to fall into the area of Toronto public health programs. A lot of public health programs are in that area. I don't know how much provincially mandated on housing and homelessness. I don't think too much. But specific things that have come forward, I wanted to say the budget chief, Mike Brown, has said everything is on the table, right? He said that pretty repeatedly. The things that we know are specific targets come out of the core service review. So you probably have heard about the core service review as you're continuing to hear about cutting. The core service review is supposed to be about identifying what are our core services in the city and what's really important. What it was instead was more of an exercise in identifying places to cut programs and to privatize. And KPMG were the consultants that really put forward these reports. And in contrast, community members, residents completed a very onerous, and it was just a horrendous online survey that maybe wish you hadn't started, but so many people actually did it, and I think there were about 13,000. And over 70% of those residents said that increasing affordable housing and shelter support and housing for homeless and low-income people are core services. They are necessary for the city. And you saw really no reflection of what people said was core, and then how it was actually treated in the core service review was just quite discounted. So the things from the core service review that we know are on the table, and it doesn't mean that's all that's on the table, are the Affordable Housing Office. They're very specific cuts from the core service review around the Affordable Housing Office, and I know that Phil and Michael are going to speak to that. Long-term care homes, and as I mentioned, the potential for sell-off of those homes. And as we have an aging population, and we already have a problem in terms of long-term care, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then funding cuts for agencies where services are delivered by nonprofit community organizations. It's often called a CPIP program or community grants. It was on the table, we pushed it off the table, which was great. We're hearing it's back on the table tomorrow, or back on the table, and we will know on Monday when the budget is released what we're actually looking at. But it affects those community organizations. We're in one of them right now, St. Stephen's Community House, and so that affects so much great work that happens in our communities too. And you can go to the next one. And that I mentioned already, the contrast between the residents and what the residents think are core service and what the administration of the city thinks is core service. If you go to the next slide, I'm only going to touch on this briefly because Joy and Susan are here. They're going to talk about TCHC, but we've already had some decisions by City Council to sell off 22 homes. It's still, and you guys can tell me if this is where this is at, but I think many of them still require ministerial approval from the province before they can be sold, and I don't think that's happened yet. So it's a place for organizing. And then now, most recently, the board, except for the 2 wonderful tenant reps, have advocated selling off another 700 plus units that would affect over 1,010 households. That's going to go to City Council, has to approve it, and then most of those homes to be sold off would require ministerial approval again. So it's definitely not over by a long shot. So that issue is going to the executive committee at the end of January, as I understand it, and then it would go to City Council. So it's not part of the budget process, but it's all, it's all the things that are happening in this group. And the last 2 slides are about the city budget process. So on Monday, the proposed budget, we call it the staff recommended budget, is released, and a lot of details around the budget are released. So we really get to see what's on the table on Monday. Then the budget committee begins to meet, and they have staff come and present. There are questions. Many councillors on the budget committee, not on the budget committee, will come and ask questions of staff, try to get more information. There's clearly debate that comes around the budget committee. The date that I really want to emphasize is December 7th. December 7th, this is a recent change, if you've heard that it was December 8th. December 7th is the first day of public hearings to the budget committee. So that means it's your chance to go and talk about what you think of the budget and what you think needs to be changed. And what they're proposing, you will know about the all-night executive committee sessions. So what seems to be proposed by the chair, Mike Delron, is that they would go from 9:30 a.m. on December 7th to 9:30 p.m. And then if there were still more people to hear, the next day they go to December 8th, they go 9:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And if you're still on the list and you haven't been heard, what he's proposing is that's too bad. So maybe 2 days would be sufficient, but the other really significant part of it is if people have been to City Hall to compute, you'll know that you normally get 5 minutes to speak. And the executive committee of the first all-night session said 3 minutes. That's all, you get 3 minutes. And at the last all-night session, they said you'll get 2 minutes. So we're doing a countdown. We have no idea, like 45 seconds, speak all at once. I'm not sure what the proposal will be, but certainly in the notes, the budget chief is saying we would consider cutting the amount of time that you'll have to speak. So it's really important to register to depute, because if you show up on the day, they will not let you speak. There's information when you're coming in and on the registration table from Commitment to Community, which is a campaign that's specifically around community grants. And there's a lot of information on the front page about how to register and where to register, so people will be able to do that. There are also, once the budget comes out on Monday, there are at least 4, or maybe more, meetings, community meetings that are being organized to really get people aware of what's in the budget. So you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, there's 2 in Etobicoke, one north, one south. Social Planning Toronto, we are having our forum on December 1st in the morning. And there's all the flyers are at the back of the table for people, so you'll be able to get the details of that. And there's one in Scarborough happening, and that's a Saturday, which is great. So there's a variety of ways to find out more, and you can find out more from us too. And the last slide are just those details of how do you register, contact your counselor, send in your written submissions. And I want to, just in closing, make a little plug for our petition. There's a new website coming together called togethertoronto.ca. Yes, CA. And it's a place where right now the hardship fund petition is up there. We're really encouraging people to sign the petition. It will be a letter that goes to your counselor that says don't cut the hardship fund. And if there's more information about the hardship fund on the back table, but basically it's providing supports to people who are mostly seniors, mostly senior women, and people with disabilities who have serious medical issues and need a bit of support around it. And it's kind of their last resort, right? And so there was a wonderful story in the Star about a woman, Shirley Schillinger, who had got a medical bed in her home, and they replaced the bed that was full of cockroaches, and she was getting bed sores, and she was crying pain and things like that. And that was due to the hardship fund. So they're thinking of cutting it. It was in a report. It didn't get cut, but it's a consideration. So we'd love for people to grab a flyer at the back and sign the petitions to let people know not to cut the hardship fund. So I think I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to slip over there because we're filming the panel tonight. So thanks.